This here palette is the star of the show today. This is the new Viseart palette, Sireneuse Etendu. I think I pronounced it correctly. I have been practicing. I was going to do a dedicated video for this palette, but I have a bunch of other stuff that I did want to show you. So if you're only interested in this, I will add a timestamp on the screen right now. I'll go through swatches. I'll talk about it extensively. So if this is the only thing you're interested in, you can just jump to that part of the video. I'll give you a little peek at this palette. Absolutely stunning. I have gotten my little paws into it and I do already have some thoughts. We'll dive in a lot deeper on this a little bit later on. So let's just get started with the rest of the products. The first thing I picked up that I wanted to show you is the Summer Fridays Jet Lag Soothing Hydration Mist. I don't know why I picked it up. I'm not sure of the thought process because I don't usually and typically use this type of product, but I picked it up anyway. You can use this to refresh the skin, add a boost of hydration. You can use it prior to your skincare. You can use it right before your makeup. You can use it after your makeup, and you can take it on the go and apply throughout the day as you see fit. It's not supposed to disturb your makeup. I haven't used it that way. I have been using it the past week or so as a step right before I apply my primer. And it has a really fine mist, and it just actually, I'm kind of glad I picked this up. It's not necessary. Is it necessary? No, it isn't. But my skin feels really, really nice right now. It's almost like giving it a drink of water right before you apply the rest of your makeup, which is how I've been using it. I do give it about 30 seconds to absorb. I don't rub it in or anything like that. The mist is extremely, extremely fine, and it's just a nice little boost of hydration to your skin. If you are very, very dry, I think you might really, really like this. I did also pick up the Milk Makeup Pore Eclipse Blurring and Mattifying Primer Stick. You can apply it under your makeup, but you can also use this to dab on your face if you are getting shiny throughout the day. It's supposed to blur and it's supposed to mattify. The areas on my face, if I do experience shine, are right here in the T-zone, right in this area, and then right beside my nose and sometimes my chin. So even though I never know if I'm going to be oily that day in those areas, using something like this is almost like an insurance policy for me. And yes, you can apply it, swipe it directly on your face, but I just take it with my finger. I can be really, really precise where I apply this. It does a really good job blurring the pores, and I have been enjoying using this a lot. For the rest of my face, I'm going to use again the TATCHA Silk Canvas, the liquid. I have really been enjoying it. It is silky and it feels really, really nice on my skin, and I do feel like it does a good job of just smoothing out the skin before makeup. It's not heavy, feels incredible, and I have really been enjoying it a lot. The foundation I'm using today is the Dior Foundation Stick. I use the shade 2.5N. Not new, one of the best stick foundations I have discovered. I like applying this in one layer. I don't like to build it up too much. It looks better in one layer, I think. It's so creamy, but not sticky or oily or anything like that. And for a foundation stick, I can't believe how easily it glides across the face. Just melts right in and you are good to go. Let's move on to color correcting the under eyes. This is the Dermatology SPF 41 Corrector. I apply in a specific way. I pump out what you're supposed to pump out. I think I mentioned this in my previous video or the one before that. Whatever is left on the cooling metal tip here, I will apply with my finger, and then I'll take the rest and continue on so that I don't over apply. I love the added protection of the SPF. It is smooth, it melts into the skin. I'm going to pump out just a little bit more just to keep my lids because I am very, very dark on my lids. This is great as a primer for eyeshadow. So I am getting some pilling. I'm getting pilling, and I've never experienced that with this product before. The only thing that I have done differently today is I've used a different eye cream. Unfortunately, it's not playing nicely with this. So you might see a few little pilling areas, and the only other variable in this situation is that eye cream note to self. For concealer, let's move on and hope this doesn't happen with the concealer. I'm going to use the Tarte Creamy Creaseless in 29N. This has been a standout concealer for me this year. Angie Hot and Flashy concealer brush A506. If I don't mention a brush as I'm going through these products, I will definitely link them in the description box below, along with everything that I have on my face today, along with the shades that I'm using, because sometimes I forget to mention them because I'm so concentrating on the product itself. Those links are shoppable links, affiliate mostly. And if you do shop through those links, I thank you very, very much. All right, next up is the Tarte Creaseless Setting and Blurring Powder. Okay, I know, I have tried. I've tried a couple of powders recently, which I do love. The Makeup by Mario, except for under the eyes, if you have fine lines under your eyes, and the Danessa Myricks Evolution Powder. And I recommend and love them both. However, while watching Teresa is Dead, Teresa is Dead is a creator on YouTube who I love to watch. Although I don't always agree with her recommendations because we have very different tastes in makeup. It's not that she's necessarily wrong. We just have a different style. I also love that she drops F-bombs every 30 seconds. I love that. But when she talks about a product all the time, that's when I know. That's when I know it's time to try what she's recommending, and this is one of them. This Tarte powder right here. I picked up the shade Yellow. You know, I might want to add this to the list of amazing powders. Although I'm not sure if the shade is particularly perfect for me. But you know what? I'll stop talking and I'll show you. And by the way, if you don't watch Teresa's Dead's channel, you're missing out. You're missing out on some great entertainment. As long as you don't mind swearing, which I don't at all. I love it. The perfect packaging. Okay, what's happening to me? This is Tarte. I'm not a Tarte person, but this is the second Tarte product that I've actually really loved this year. So in the top, it comes with this cute little triangular puff. So small enough, like big enough to hold, but small enough to get into, you know, the crevices. And then there's a spot for it right up here. And then you lift this up, which keeps the powder from getting all over the place. You just dip that in, or your brush, or you can tap it out into the cap, whatever way you prefer to apply your powder. I have tried tapping this out into the cap. Not a lot comes out, which is another thing I appreciate, because you don't want mounds of powder coming out onto your cap, even when you are tapping right into the mesh here. It just gives you the perfect amount. Regardless, I still will go into the palm of my hand and disperse everything and make sure that it's not too heavily powdered on here. And then we are going to go into the under eye. I usually go very light under the under eye, but this puff works. Now, I'm not 100% sold. I'm not 100% sold on the shade that I picked. I want to try a shade maybe a little bit lighter. This yellow powder, they said, is great from light to tan skin tones. So kind of spans the spectrum for me. So I thought that was the way to go. I do feel like it might be a little bit dark for me, just a little bit dark for me. So that's why I want to try the lighter shade. That might be too light for me. I'm not sure. But you won't ever know until you try. Very lightweight, very blurring. Don't feel like you have anything on your face. It reminds me of the Danessa Myricks powder, except I really love this packaging so much more. The Danessa, incredible powder. It can get a little bit messy. It really can. I was okay with that because the powder's so great. And this, well, this just kicks it up a little bit. So I've used that little puff for the T-zone. Actually, I think I missed that part. I can't remember. I was talking. I don't know. It's okay. I'll add a little bit more. It's not going to harm because it doesn't kick up and it doesn't build up too much. It's such a great powder. It really is. What is going on with Tarte and me? We weren't friends before. I'm going to take a fluffier brush and just do the rest of my face because I have a powder bronzer to try with you. Just fluff it on. I don't necessarily need too much powder all over. I don't like a too powdery face, but like I said, this doesn't look powdery at all. At this point, I'll get my lids to just make sure because of that pilling earlier, just make sure I don't have any creasing. Back in October, I did place not a large, but a nice sized order from Jones Road because I am intrigued with the brand and I did want to try a lot of their products. So I picked up their powder bronzer. I picked up Light Tan and Dusty Rose. Here is Dusty Rose and here is Light Tan. I picked up Dusty Rose because I thought it would be more like a bronzer blush situation, and Light Tan I picked up as, you know, just a regular powder bronzer. I'm going to put Light Tan on and then I'll talk about Dusty Rose. Picked up the Jones Road bronzer brush and I'm going to go lightly in to Light Tan. I have some thoughts, I do. The brush, first of all, very soft, very nice. You have to be careful. It is very, very large and it's hard to keep the product where you want it. Keep that in mind, but the brush itself is really, really great. It's got a little bit of a red undertone, this Light Tan shade. It's not too powdery. It's nice. It's okay. Did I get the wrong shade? I'm not sure. It looks good. There's nothing wrong with it, but every time I use it, I'm never really, really happy with what I look like overall. So I do think that it's an undertone issue with my skin tone. Will I use it? Yeah, sure, I'll use it. It's quick, it's easy, doesn't really give me any problems, only I don't get wowed. That's how I'll put it. I do kind of want to show you this Dusty Rose shade. I'm going to flip the brush over and I'm going to dip in very, very lightly. This shade is a little too mauvey for my skin tone. I'm just going to put it on top of the Light Tan because that's how I've been kind of using these. And it does provide a little bit of a blush situation. I'm not a fan. It's a little bit too muted for me. And I feel like it just, I don't know, sucks the life out of me. They fall flat. They fall flat on my face. It'll do. And I don't want it'll do. I want wow. I love that. All right, moving on to blush. These are finally the YSL Make Me Blush liquid blushes. There was a saga. I ordered from the YSL website. They never arrived to me. I did get my money back, but it was a process. And I have kind of a bad taste in my mouth from that, but I did go ahead and pick some up at the Sephora sale. I picked up Nude Lavalier and Peachy Nude. Nude Lavalier is a little bit more on the pink side, mauvey, and Peachy Nude is, well, a peachy nude. I'm going to try Peachy Nude on this side. These are a cream to powder formula. Very, very long lasting, easy to blend, all of the great things. I really don't have anything bad to say about them. And I'm applying over powder. And for the first time ever, I'm getting patchiness. I've tried these over powder before and haven't had any problem. And today I'm getting a nice, not nice patch right here. Okay, well, long lasting, 100%. Pigmented, yes. Can you shear them out? Yes. Cream to powder, yes. Doesn't disturb anything underneath? Not up until today. Not up until today. Yeah, it looks terrible. It looks terrible. Okay, we're going to ignore that. We're going to ignore that. This side of the face with Nude Lavalier, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go directly to the face. I am going to put it on the back of my hand. I am going to clean off my brush that I've been using, the It Cosmetics number 7, and start applying this. If you're putting this over powder, I would definitely put it on the back of your hand first, disperse it, and then put it on. If you're applying this over liquids, honestly, no problem. I'm not loving my cheeks today. I'm just not. This is not anything that I'm crazy about and like, oh my gosh, that looks so great. I will use these in another video, giving them more of a chance to shine through. I don't think this was the best scenario for them. This is the Gucci Powder Gel Highlighter. I picked up the shade Opal Pink and it's fabulous. Here it is swatched out. I've gone over this several times just so you can see how intense you can get it. And then this is just one swipe. So you can get it very, very light application, or you can really, really intensify it. I do not like too intense of a highlighter, so I'm taking a fluffy brush. I think this is a Rare Beauty. I'll link it, or list it and just apply it to the high points of my cheeks. I think you can see that. I can. Tread lightly with this one because you can get a very, very intense highlight with this. I've also used this on my eyes. You can use it on the eyes. It's the most beautiful, beautiful shimmer on the eyes. It's gorgeous, actually. Very, very nice. Extremely expensive highlighter. Depends how much you love highlighter. Depends how much you love highlighter because, you know, there are other highlighters that you can get that will give you pretty much the same effect that are not $80 Canadian, you know? But do I love it? Do I think it's wonderful? Do I think it looks beautiful? Do I love it on the eyes? 100%. Okay, I don't know what's up with me. For someone who's not a fan of tinted brow gels, I sure did try quite a few over the past few weeks. So this is the ABH Volumizing Tinted Brow Gel. What I do love about this versus the Merit one that I tried is the wand on here is so super, super, super tiny. I have to be very, very careful, as I've mentioned, because my brows are so thin and sparse. I don't dislike the Merit, the 1980 tinted brow gel, but this ABH one is not as liquidy and has a very, very, very small brush, and it's got a side that has longer tips on it and then another side that's shorter. So you can use that in the way that works best for your eyebrows to disperse the product without getting it all over the place. So I really have been enjoying this one a lot. Brand says to let the gel dry before you go in with any other products, just so that you don't get it all over the place. So I will do that. Then I'm going to go in with my Dior Show Brow Styler and just define the brow a little bit more, and I'll be right back. On to the star of this video, the Sireneuse Etendu. I love saying that. This beautiful palette looks a little bit basic. It does. However, it really isn't. This is my first 12 pan of a Viseart palette. I do have a Petite 4, like the 4 pan one in Esperides, and I do have a video on that. I loved the formula so very, very much. It did spark my interest in the brand for sure. And then when I saw this released, I was all over that. This palette is $44 US and $60 Canadian. I did buy it off of Beautylish, so you can buy it on Beautylish and the Viseart website. I'll link those both down below. It does come with this vellum sheet of paper that protects the shadows. From what I understand, the other 12 pans used to come with a mirror. This one does not come with a mirror. It is magnetic, and so you can pop this off and put it wherever you want, and you can take off this vellum sheet of paper. It does have a perforation as well, and you can rip it off. However, you can place this wherever you want on this backing, and you can flip it over, keep it kind of on an angle if you're working with it. This is very much a professional line, but why leave it just to the professionals? This is very much geared towards makeup artists and being able to also pop out these individual pans and replace them with whatever you want, and you can make your own color story, whatever you want. I don't ever do that, even with the Natasha Denona's, because I'll probably forget what's what and where it came from, and then I'll be completely and totally lost. So if I wasn't doing YouTube, I probably might do that if it was just for my daily own personal use. However, that is an option for you. You can pop these out and make your own perfect color story, because as we know, in every palette, there are shades that we don't necessarily touch ever. They don't all work for us. However, I think this might be a different story. I think this might be the exception, but we'll see. I am going to swatch for you right now, and what I have tried recently is swatching by formula. So I like to swatch all of the mattes together, all of the metallics together, all of the shimmers together, etc., etc. I really hope you find that helpful. It does help me, because when I see all of the mattes together, where I would use them in a particular way, if I can see the shade range for the mattes, I like that. I really do. So I hope you like that as well. I'm going to continue to do that unless you guys want to see the shades in the order that they are in the pan, but nobody ever uses shades in the order of the pan. They use them either here's my matte, here's my shimmer, here's my topper, etc., etc. So I hope you find this helpful. So let's just dive right in. There are 4 mattes, 4 metallics, 4 shimmers from what I can see. Okay, let's start with the mattes. This one is called Serenade. It's a soft mid-tone neutral pink that kind of just melts into my particular skin tone, although you can see it on there. That'll be a great sort of shade to use to diffuse around the edges for me in particular. Then we move on to Murmur. Murmur is a mid-tone nude rose with a matte finish, but it does have a little bit of a satin to it. It's not a flat matte, not at all, not at all. Although you can definitely use it as a matte shade and in your crease. Then we move on to Ethos. Ethos is a light muted neutral pink peach matte. And then the last matte we have is Abyss. Abyss is a mid-tone grayish purple. Here comes the shine. So this shade right here is called Sylph. It's a champagne rose with a metallic finish. These are all the metallics. Next is Luminary. Luminary is a nude quartz with a metallic finish. Oh, these are so pretty. You should see them on the eye. Oh, I'll get into that later. And this one is Glinting. Glinting is a nude silver with a metallic finish. And then finally, we have Brine. It's a bitter brown quartz shade with a copper reflectivity. And it's stupendous. I wore this last weekend and I loved it. I loved it so much. So here are our metallic shades. All right, moving on to the duochromes. This is Melusine. This is a mid-tone sandy nude with blue-green duochrome flecks in it. I hope you can see this. It's stunning. Next, we have Triton. Triton is a kind of second skin nude. It's more of a topper shade and a silver duochrome, those little duochromatic flakes in there. Then we have this stunning shade called Oceanic, and it's a rich navy blue-green with blue duochromatic flecks. I'm moving my hand so you can see how they dance. They're so pretty. This one you could definitely use as a matte. Even though it's a duochrome, it's quite effective as a liner. And over here we have Siren. This is the last shade I will show you. Siren is a violet blue with a turquoise duochromatic fleck. This one I'm going to do a little bit more movement so that you can definitely see the shift that you get with these. I've taken this right off of the packaging so I can hold it much more easily and show you what I'm using. I'm going to go in with Serenade right here. This is a MAC 217. I am going to place this on the crease. Gosh, I hate this patch on my cheek, but I can't do anything about it at this very moment. This is a perfect transition shade for me and my skin tone. I was only going to do one look today, but I think I'm going to do 2. So I'm going to concentrate on this eye right now, and then I'll do another look on this eye. Why not? I have nowhere else to go. Refer 14, and I'm going to go into Murmur, another matte, and I'm going to start deepening the outer corner and the crease just a little above the crease. These blend so very, very, very beautifully. You will have zero problems with this formula. I'm going to deepen the outer corner just a little bit with this one and flick up just a little bit. I'm not getting any fallout from what I can see. Let's dive into Luminary right now. This is a metallic finish. Just taking it with my finger. That's beautiful. Now you can use these shades wet or dry. No problemo. I want this eye look to be soft with a punch. So I'm not sure if I want to deepen the outer corner or just kind of leave it floofy, you know? and just have this shade be the star of the show, making it up as I go. Now I'm going to go into Glinting, another metallic shade with a Refer 28, and just add it to the inner corner. So these are applying very nicely with a brush. I haven't wet anything. This shade in the middle, I did apply with my finger, but even with a brush, I'm not having any problems whatsoever. And I think I'm going to dip into it again and bring it a little bit further in to my inner corner and connect it with the rest. So unassuming, this palette, isn't it? I feel like it is. I didn't expect when I received it to get this much of a effect on the eye. That's why we try these things out. And that's why a lot of us get on here and try them out for you so you can see what you're getting before you spend your money. Refer number 3, and I'm going to go back into Murmur. And I just want to line the lower lash line. This one is quite warm, which I do not mind, but not too warm. It's not too warm. It just, for my skin tone, is kind of perfect. I have the new Laura Mercier eyeliner pencil in the shade Cocoa, which might be a little bit too warm for me. When I hear cocoa, I think something more brown. This one leans a little bit more red. I'll probably use it as a liner on my upper lash line for the next look, but for this look, I want to apply this to my lower waterline. And then you guys can be the judge on whether or not this is a little bit, probably maybe 100%, a little too warm for the name Cocoa. You know, there's nothing wrong with the shade, but I think it's misleading. I won't do mascara yet or anything like that. This is just the first look using this palette in the Laura Mercier in the lower waterline, and then I'll move on to this eye, and then I'll do the mascara and all of that. Refer Shodo 03 in this shade called Abyss. I'm just going to go straight in without a transition shade. You don't always need a transition shade, especially if you're in a hurry. This shadow, Abyss, it has this halo of warmth. I'm trying to come up with the right words to explain it. So you do get the depth with it, but as you are spreading it on your eyelid, it melts right in, and then you have this sort of halo so easily right over that shadow. Even though it's like a grayish purple, there's a warmth to it as well. So keep that in mind. There is a warmth to this that I appreciate so much, because these grayy purple shades, as much as I love them, my eye is always drawn to those. And then when I put them on my face, they look blue, they look very gray. And this one is grayish purple, but not too much. Keep that in mind if you struggle the way I struggle with those cool tones. This is a cool tone, but very neutral, like neutral leaning. Now I'm going into Brine, which is a metallic with a Refer 01 brush. I am going to concentrate this deeper shade in the outer corner of my eye. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit more. Very pigmented, very easily blended. If you're looking for a smoky eye out of this, well, I think we can achieve that, definitely. I'm going to go into this duochrome called Siren. Get this on the lid. So this has a violet blue with like turquoise flecks in it. And the first time I used it, I felt like I had too much base, too much of that red underneath. But this time, I do not see that. So the first time I used it with a brush, and I don't think I was picking up too much of the duochrome or the turquoise of it. This one, definitely use with your finger, because I'm having an extremely different experience with this shade right now. Because I was about to tell you that I wasn't a fan of this, and that's why we need to try things in different ways. This is I stand corrected. Refer 02, and I'm going to go into Triton. I'm going to apply this to the inner part of my eye. This is supposed to be a topper, but I wanted to see, yeah, it's a topper. I need something a little bit brighter in that inner corner. Going into Glinting with a Refer 28, and let's brighten up this part of the eye just a little bit. BK Beauty N13 back into that original matte that we used in the crease. And I'm going to bring it down over here just to smoke out the eye just a little bit more. Fluffy Refer Brush 01 in Ethos. And I just want to diffuse the outer edges just a little bit and highlight the brow bone while we're at it. I'm going to go back in with the Laura Mercier in Cocoa and just line a little bit, just a little lining of the upper lash line. Since this one is a little bit more of a smoky eye, I just wanted to add a little bit more drama to the eye. Very creamy. It's very easily spreadable, but not all over the place. A very good liner. I'm not crazy about the shade. However, with this eye look in particular, it looks stupendous because it's picking up on that shade that we have in the center. It has a little bit of warmth to it against those cooler outer shadows. It's perfect. It's perfect. Okay, I'm going to add mascara. I'm going to add the Milk Makeup Eyelash Primer and the Give Beauty Mascara, and I will be right back. Okay, moving on to lips. This is the Dior Lip Contour in 259 Nude Ribbon Contour Lip Liner Pencil. I can tell you that it really doesn't move. What I have been doing with this lip liner is feathering it in, and as much as possible so it can be the base for anything that you put on top of it, and that way it doesn't look so stark around the lips, because I did find that this does not move. It does not go anywhere. Feather in the edges, bring the line in with the color of the lips, so even if we have any fading, it's not going to look so weird. This does come with a little brush on the end of it that you can use to do that. Very creamy, very, very nice liner that you could actually use as a lipstick. And believe you me, when I tell you, it will not go anywhere. I picked up another NARS Explicit lipstick in the shade Blame. I'm not sure about this shade. I feel like it might be a little bit too orangey for me, a little too warm. I'm going to swatch them for you so you can see. You can see Blame against the other 3 or 4, I can't remember, that I have. Envy, Adulteress, Exposed. This is Liaison. I picked that up at the Sephora Sale too. And this is Blame. Blame initially looks very, very peach on me, but as you can see in the swatch, it's not. And I thought, oh, Liaison and Blame look so similar, but they don't. If you can see in the swatch, there is a difference. Liaison is deeper and Blame is a little bit lighter, but I love all of them, all of them, all of them. I really do love this color. On the swatches, it looked different. On my face, maybe has the same effect, but there is a nuance in the undertone. So just keep that in mind. What do I think about this Viseart palette? Well, it's very unassuming. It looks a little bit, you know, like a typical boring palette. The mattes in here are soft and they're buildable. So you can go bold or you can go light. You can go neutral, you can go warm, you can go cool. I also love that this cooler shade doesn't look too cool and gray and blue on me. So that is a very, very big plus in my books. I love that it's lightweight. I love that it's magnetic. I love that you can take it on the go. Like I said, it is unassuming, but it does pack a punch. I'm so glad I continued on my journey trying to discover more and more Viseart eyeshadows. They are high quality. They are makeup artist level quality. You can do a very, very easy everyday look and you can smoke it out as much as you want. And even with the smoky eye, you can keep it very, very low level, or you can kick it up. So you can do whatever you want with this palette. If this is a color story that speaks to you everything in here performs so, so beautifully, top notch. I love it. As always, thank you so very much for watching. I really do hope you found that helpful. Please do consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram. I have something planned for December, so make sure you're subscribed so you can see that. It's my take on Vlogmas. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!